Hi everyone, hope you all are doing well, having a great Sunday evening. I promised that I would come to y'all via video to kind of give you some things to think about as you move throughout this upcoming week. So I won't waste a ton of time here. I do want to jump into course content. So, all right, so looking at our course right now, close this out. All right, so looking at our course right now, a couple of things I want to bring to your attention just really quickly in our calendar here. So you have two things that are due this week. The first one is going to be the Unit 2.1 discussion board. Again, initial post and replies. That's going to be the poem, hypertext, and semiotics exercise. It's a really interesting exercise. It's probably very different than anything you've ever had to do, but I do think it's a really good way to kind of get you thinking about what poetry, what goes into a poem and some of the different things that you can extrapolate and pull from a poem, some of the meaning that you can pull. Because one of the things that's very true about text in general is that very different kinds of texts, of course, any kind of text will have different meanings or different insights that people can pull from it. And poetry especially can have that. And this exercise is actually going to give you an opportunity to kind of flex your muscles a little bit with that. And of course, the other assignment that's due this week is going to be the Unit 2.2 Poetry Reading and Response video. So I'm going to get into that here in just a second. So if you go to content, we just finished up Unit 1, which I hope that you all have enjoyed the unit. I am going to start grading the Unit 1 assignments here in the next day, or so. My plan will be to have them done, of course, by the end of this week, so you all have plenty of time to get my feedback and, of course, use that as you move forward. So when you go into Unit 2, of course, this is the poetry unit. Just like with the Unit 1, you will have, of course, the organizer and the checklist. If this isn't something that you utilized in the last unit, I do encourage you to at least take a look at it. I'm not saying you have to use it for every unit, but if you do find yourself, kind of forgetting and not really remembering all the things that might need to be done within a certain unit and the class, the advanced organizer and the checklist are both really good tools. Especially for a class like this one that is 8 weeks during a summer, things go by pretty quickly. So I do want you all to be able to have these tools and know that they're here and use them if they'll be useful to you. When it comes to this unit, of course, I want to encourage you to look through all of the different readings. I'll be honest with you, when it comes to various kinds of texts that you can study, poetry for a long time was my weak point. It was one that I struggled with. I've gotten a lot better at it over the years through studying it in undergrad and graduate school and then teaching it. But I do recognize that poetry for a lot of people isn't necessarily the most fun genre within, literature and English classes and things like that. So if you do find that you're struggling a little bit with poetry, or you are a little bit worried about having to tackle poetry in this unit, I really do encourage you to take a look at some of these early resources here. What is a poem, key poetic terms, how to approach a poem. This is gold. Y'all, this will help you, especially if you find yourself reading a poem and going, that sounds pretty. I don't know what to do with that, which I think everybody has done at some point. And then, of course, you'll see the poetry selections that are available for the unit. That's going to be really key because that's going to give you an indication of what you can work with as you move through the different texts that you can work with as you move throughout the unit. Okay, now I mentioned, of course, the Unit 2.1 poem hyperlinks and semiotics discussion board. Again, this is going to be due on the 14th, so this is due today's Sunday. It is due Tuesday by the end of the day. So you'll choose one of the poetry selections for the unit, copy and paste the text of the poem, and then go through and read it word by word and think about some of these questions here. What stands out to you? What are confusing? What would you like to learn more about? And of course, then you're going to go about inserting hyperlinks into the poem. And these hyperlinks are going to be there to help heighten and to help give deeper insight and deeper meaning. And again, it doesn't have to be a set meaning because there isn't a set meaning necessarily. There's different ways that everyone's going to approach any kind of text differently, right? So you're going to actually choose different words and different phrases that you want to add hyperlinks to. You have to include at least 12, and you need to include at least one of all of these, okay? And you will see, of course, if you find yourself going, I don't know what this would even look like, there is a sample within the discussion board instructions, okay? And of course, then you'll respond to 2 of your classmates. All right, so there is that assignment. Then if we go back into Unit 2, and go into modes of analyses. This particular part of Unit 2 is going to really get you into thinking about interpretation and analysis. So this is going to be really important for you to keep in mind for poetry, but it's also going to be important for you to keep in mind as you move into the short story unit, and then we move into the drama unit, all right? Because the idea behind studying literature or studying any kind of text is that you can have some kind of opinion, you can have some kind of argument that you can make about that text. And this is going to give you an opportunity to begin to flex those muscles a little bit. So you do have an example here from Robert Frost's The Road Not Taken. So you do have a sample analysis here. And I do encourage you to take a look at these. And then, of course, you have this video assignment. Now, this is different because this is going to be an assignment that has you all kind of in the driver's seat. You all are going to be, introducing the title of and the author of one of the poems. Again, from the different selections that you have to choose from. You're going to read aloud 5 to 10 lines from that poem. You're going to explain what drew you to the poem and how you personally connect to it. You're going to tell us your favorite line or phrase and why. And then you're, of course, want to keep in mind to be interesting, creative, and original. Again, this is the 2 assignments you have due during this work week are very different assignments. They are very creative in nature. And I like to be able to give my students creative assignments as much as I can. And also, like I said, this one kind of puts you in the driver's seat. I get to hear from you. I get to really hear from you and see you because it will be on camera. It has to be 1 to 3 minutes long. So do keep that in mind. And also keep in mind, too, when you go to do the video, you have to make sure to hold up your student ID or state issued ID and make sure that that is within the submission itself, okay? This is because for a class like this that is online where I don't really get to meet y'all face-to-face, this is a way to authenticate that you are who you are. I'm not saying that you all aren't, but this is something that's really important for eCore purposes. They want to make sure that the people who are taking these classes are truly the people enrolled in the class, if that makes sense. So that's another purpose for this assignment. And of course, you'll upload it to the Dropbox. There are some grading criteria here that you'll want to keep in mind. Ultimately, these 2 assignments for this week, y'all, are relatively easy and are really going to give you some flexibility to really think about what within these poems are interesting to you, how you respond to them. Again, it's getting you to think about poetry in a really kind of creative and more, again, putting you in charge way. And that's what you'll be doing with this discussion board and with the assignment, the video assignment due on Friday, because then the next Sunday, a week from today, you will have a thesis statement outline assignment that will be due. One of the things you've probably noticed about this class is that a lot of things we do in this class are scaffolded. They build on one another. Well, for this Unit 1 assignment, you did a response, kind of a response assignment. It wasn't really argument-based or anything like that. Well, for the Unit 2 assignment, the main assignment, you'll be doing that, kind of setting up some of the essentials that you would need for a paper. And that's what you'll do to close out Unit 2. And then, of course, in Units 3 and 4, we'll have an essay that will be a part of the unit itself. Okay? So again, all these things are kind of building on itself. I know that there are a lot of things going on in the class right now. You all have worked very hard. I've been very impressed with your work so far. I do hope that my feedback has been useful to you. I know that it's a lot, but I want to make sure, and I've explained this to a couple of you, but I'll explain it here. Because of the nature of this class, there's a lot that happens in the first, couple units. I like to really, front load as much feedback and give you all a lot heading into the first major paper in Unit 3, so that as you all move throughout the back part of the class, you all have had a lot of feedback from me. You all know what you need to be working on, and you can begin putting the things you learn in Units 1 and 2 into place for what you do in Unit 3 and Unit 4. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean when we get in Unit 3 and Unit 4 that you stop getting feedback from me. You will get feedback from me. It may just not be quite as intense as what you've been getting so far. Okay? You're doing nice work. I appreciate everything that y'all are doing. If you ever have questions, please reach out. My office hours are on Saturdays from 1 to 3, but those of you who have emailed me during the week, which a good number of you have, and I appreciate it, I get back to you pretty much the same day. And if not that day, usually the next morning or it's well within 24 hours, if typically less than 24. All right, so make sure that you reach out if you need anything. I look forward to seeing more work in the days to come, and please make sure that you're taking care of yourselves. Again, you as a person matter more than any assignment, okay? Doesn't mean the assignments don't matter, but you matter more, and I want to make sure that you are taking care of yourselves and doing the best you can by yourself, all right? Take care of yourselves, and let me know if there's anything I can do to support you. Thanks.